I flew in from Boston just to talk to you, so thank you for staying. Thank you. So my name is Diana Yousef. I'm the founder of Changewater Labs. Let's see if my slides work. Oh, okay. I'm going to go back. There was a riddle in there, and now you know the answer. So pretend you didn't see that. So I'm the founder of Changewater Labs. And so I wanted to ask you a question. Of all the human technological innovations across all of history, what do you think has saved the most lives? Anybody? It's the flush toilet. So, the flush toilet. But half of all people in the world, that's 4.5 billion people, lack access to a safe, clean toilet. And that's because they live in places with no hookup to water or sewage plumbing. In fact, non-sewered sanitation is such a big problem that $19 billion per year gets spent on non-flush toilets. Bet you didn't know that. So I'm going to guess that most of you spend no time thinking about your toilet. But for billions of people around the world, the lack of access to a safe, clean toilet traps them in perpetual poverty, poor health, and pollution. In fact, poor sanitation is the cause of 80% of all disease spread and 4% of all deaths globally. Poor sanitation traps children in a cycle of malnutrition, diarrhea, and stunted growth. Having access to a safe, clean toilet in a vulnerable community empowers women. When a woman doesn't have a safe, clean toilet in or near her home, she has to go in public, and that puts her at high risk of sexual assault. Safe toilet access promotes girls' education. Half of all schools don't provide proper toilets to their students, contributing to 20% of girls dropping out of school by the time they hit puberty. And poor sanitation pollutes the environment, poisons our precious water resources, and propagates climate change. So sewage runoff will cause a scary algae bloom like this. And these will starve the ocean and ruin our coastal communities, causing die-offs of marine life and our precious corals. Unmanaged sewage is the cause of 4% of all man-made methane emissions. And methane is 25 times more harmful than carbon dioxide as a greenhouse gas. So in just this one intervention, a safe, clean toilet, we have the potential to impact 13 out of 17 UN Sustainable Development Goals. But if everybody's going to have a toilet, flushing can't be the answer. On average, a single person will output about a soda bottle worth of waste on any given day, and some toilets will use half a bathtub's worth of clean water just to flush it. That's insane. And cities are headed for a real toilet crisis. By 2030, 6 people out of 10 will be living in cities, and that means we're going to have to build 2,400 New York City's worth of construction just to accommodate all those people. But infrastructure is only going to meet 20% of that new urban footprint. And water demand is going to outstrip water supply by 40%. So what does that mean? That means 1 in 3 people living in cities is going to have a non-flush toilet. That's 500 million non-flush toilets that need to be installed in cities. And none of the current options for non-flush toilets work in cities. So how do you prevent cities from drowning in sewage? Well, you have to collect it like garbage, which is frequent and hugely costly. So my company, Changewater Labs has come up with a way to get rid of waste fast without flushing or frequent collection. Instead, we shrink it. Human waste is 95% water. I'm sorry I'm showing this to you before you guys are going to eat. But anyway, it's 95% water. And so why would we be getting rid of water by flushing away more water? Instead, we could just evaporate it. So the inspiration for this work came from when I was consulting to NASA, looking at ways to recycle water on the space station. And one of the options that was considered was the use of what are called breathable materials. These are materials that have the specific capability of selecting water and pulling it through the material, converting it from liquid to gas. So it's evaporation, but without heat. So we all know materials like that, like Tyvek housing wrap that modulates moisture in buildings, and dry fit sportswear that wicks away our sweat to keep us dry during a workout. So my thinking was that while space is the ultimate off-grid location, there are plenty of off-grid places here on Earth that don't have proper water treatment. So I'm a biologist by training, and I look at how nature solves engineering problems, and plants are the masters of moving molecular water through a process called evapotranspiration. So when plants are exposed to sun, they sweat. They evaporate water through pores on the leaves. This evaporation at the leaves drives absorption of water from the wet soil at the roots. So basically, water is moved through the plant, driven by the difference in the humidity between the dry air above and the wet soil below. So, taking these inspirations from nature and space, my team has developed the iThrone. It's a low-cost, portable, no-flush toilet that evaporates waste. The iThrone collects waste in bags made of a non-porous evaporative material that we call shrink wrap for crap. These bags will shrink waste by collecting the waste and pulling the liquid water out of the waste on the inside, pulling it through the material, which converts it into water vapor that's released on the outside. So essentially, we're evaporating the water by pulling it through this material without needing to use heat. This gets rid of 95% of collected waste volumes in one day. So just like plants, our shrink wrap for crap material essentially pulls water from a wet area to a dry area, driven by the moisture difference on either side of the membrane. The other benefit of our technology is because we drive the waste so quickly, we actually deprive the bacteria in the waste from having water, which cuts down on methane emissions. So, next to a flush toilet, the iThrone is the fastest way to get rid of waste, but it doesn't use water, it doesn't use flushing, it doesn't use pipe, and it doesn't cause pollution. In fact, we like to think of the iThrone as the green toilet. It's clean, sustainable, saves money, and the planet. The iThrone will get safe and sustainable sanitation to more people in more places at lower cost. It enables a solution for dry, clean, compact drop-in sanitation in fast-growing cities, tough geographies, emergencies, and dry conditions. The iThrone will clean up communities by making safe sanitation much more accessible, deployable, and scalable. Because the iThrone shrinks waste fast at the point of production, it transforms the cost of distributed sanitation. Because it doesn't need a hookup to water or plumbing, the iThrone is anywhere between 5 and 300 times cheaper than a comparable option, so that will increase toilet access. Unlike other non-flush toilets that have to be emptied daily, the iThrone only has to be emptied every 1 to 2 months. that reduces the cost of waste collection by 30 to 60 times. It also allows scalability of sanitation servicing because each waste collector only has to visit each toilet much less frequently. So we could increase servicing by a factor of 60. So we've successfully piloted the iThrone in 2 locations. In 2020, we piloted the iThrone in an urban refugee hosting community in Uganda. That was a lot of fun because I had to evacuate my team on March 13, 2020, so that they could get back into the United States before everything shut down. Less exciting was deploying these toilets in 2023 in Panama. We deployed them into an urban indigenous community. It's an upgraded version of the iThrone. And just so you know, in both communities, they were previously depending on pit latrines and other types of really undignified types of sanitation, which were actually harmful for the environment. So in the first 6 months of operations, these 2 toilets were able to service 7,000 uses, achieve 97% evaporation of the collected waste, eliminating more than 2 tons of waste, and they were able to be run completely off-grid. We found out that we actually could run them not only just 1 month, but 2 to 3 months before we had to service them, which means that we could be reducing collection costs by 60 to 100 times. Success of this pilot has the potential to expand to a larger deployment of 150,000 iThrones across Panama in the next 3 to 5 years. The iThrone will deliver cross-cutting social and environmental impact. One iThrone located in an urban community has the potential to protect 1,000 people in the surrounding area from vector-borne disease. The iThrone will keep women safe and keep girls in school. Not only does the iThrone not use or pollute water, it actually converts waste back into pure water, and it will be curbing a significant amount of sanitation-derived methane emissions. One of the most effective ways to promote prosperity and health for billions of people and for the planet is to provide safe and sustainable sanitation. And my team is solving the sanitation crisis one water molecule at a time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Diana. Thank you very much.